future debates. Joining us this morning is Sean Spicer of the RNC. He has a brand new title. He's the Chief Strategist and Communications Director for the RNC. He previously had handled debate negotiations with the networks. Hi, Sean.
Good morning, Allison.
Sean, these past 5 days must have been somewhat hellish for you. I mean, is that fair?
That's very fair.
I mean, look, you had previously
I think there's no question. I mean,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I mean, look, I think there's no question that last week's debate was a complete disaster, and I think our candidates are rightly upset. The clips that you played expressed just a portion of that outrage. I think they expected a debate on the economy and on financial matters, and it wasn't. So rightly so, debates are about these candidates. It's about them being able to express why they're running for president, their vision, their ideas for taking this country forward. Yeah. And it's our job as a party to make sure that they have that, and they have the best possible format to do that. And so, that meeting last night was just that. It was an opportunity for them to get together, find some areas of consensus that they agree upon, and a way to ensure that the respect their ability to have a fair and open debate about their ideas.
Yes, but it's not just the networks that they blame. They also blame the RNC. In fact, some people have gone so far as to call for Reince Priebus, the head of the RNC, to resign. Mark Levin, he's of course a conservative radio host, as you know. He says, quote, "The RNC has thrown these Republicans under the bus," end quote. Did you guys botch this somehow?
No, I mean, look, I think anyone who thinks that we can sort of put words in moderators' mouth is crazy. The candidates have confidence in what the RNC is doing, and what you saw last night was them saying that they want to be more involved in the format. The rest of it still remains with the RNC, and they should be. The candidates should be involved in understanding and negotiating with these networks the best format that they agree upon. That's their role. That's something that we advocate for. So when it comes to the organization of it, the calendar, the sanctioning, the logistics of it, all of that is with the RNC, as it should be. The candidates all agree on that. But the candidates want to have a greater role in talking to the networks about some commitments that we made about the format. That's perfectly appropriate. These debates are about them.
Okay, I mean, here are the demands, or the requests, I should say, as we understand what came out of the meeting. 2-hour time limit. Okay, opening and closing remarks, minimum 30 seconds for each candidate. Fair enough. Editorial control of the graphics. That sounds a little bit more complicated, asking the networks to grant the campaigns editorial control, but then equal speaking time for each candidate. I mean, what do you want the moderators to do? Sit there with a stopwatch and make sure that everybody's getting exact time? You know, some of this has to be freewheeling.
Well, I think the candidates have a right to be involved in this process. I think after what you've seen in the last several debates, where there's been huge disparities among candidates, especially front-runner candidates, where they didn't get close to the amount of equal time that others did, it's a fair complaint that they have. But, Allison, look, I think that sometimes this process isn't as pretty as we would all like, but contrast what happened with the other side of the aisle. We had a discussion among our candidates last night to find areas of consensus that they could come to and present to the party and say, hey, these are the areas where we want you to fight for us. Mm-hmm. That's great. That's part of the process. On the flip side, the Democrats on September 16th had a protest outside of their headquarters by their candidates saying that they were being treated unfairly and it was a coronation of Hillary Clinton. There's a big difference between how these two parties handle debates. Our party is inclusive. It allows the candidates to have a discussion. It talks about they want to be more involved. That's what we want. Yep. We're all in agreement on that. On the other side of the aisle, you're having protests outside their headquarters.
Hey, Sean.
That's a vastly. I'll take our side over their side any day.
Sean, one more interesting detail, and that is that there's word that the new rules will not apply to the Fox Business Network's debate 9 days from now. Why not? I mean, 9 days is enough time to make these tweaks.
Well, again, I think this comes down to what the candidates want. It's not our job. The RNC's job has never been to tell the candidates what to do. It's to try to find consensus and argue on their behalf.
Right, but this is what they want. I mean, this is what the candidates say they want, so why not force Fox? Why not force Fox News to also have to comply with these conditions?
Well, clearly, they feel like what the format that Fox has given them is fine, from what I understand. But again, that's up to them to decide. It's not for us to tell them what's good and what's bad. It's for them to tell us what the format is they want, and for us to be able to advocate on their behalf, for them to have an open channel of communication with the networks. But again, if they're fine with a particular set of format or criteria, then that's fine. We're not here to dictate anything. We're here to be a conduit and a helper and a partner. That's what they want. That's what should be the case, and that's what's going to be the case.
Because, Sean, the Washington Post is reporting this morning that the reason that Fox News won't have to comply is because there were some people in the room last night that are afraid of Roger Ailes, CEO of Fox. Did you hear that sentiment?
Well, I read it in the Washington Post. I wouldn't say that that means it happened. But I also think that look, the candidates collectively talked about that. If they agree that the criteria and the format for this upcoming debate is something that they're all amenable to, then that's great. Again, our job isn't to make decisions for them. It's to advocate on their behalf. And so if they're comfortable with the upcoming format, then we're comfortable with the upcoming format. If they're not, then we're not either. Our job is to be their advocate, not to make decisions on their behalf. It's to work for them. So, if that's what they want, that's what they're going to get.
Sean Spicer, thanks so much for talking on New Day. Great to see you.
You bet. Thank you.